So here's my question of the day. How did that 10-ton rock get on top of there? Same with that one over there. Today we're going to be driving the 2015 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. Although we got a bit of smoke and mirrors here because the real car is over here. We also have a video of this Volkswagen Beetle Turbo convertible coming up. Now apparently Volkswagen likes playing with the letters. We get the GLI S, the SC, the SC Sport, the SCL, the SCL Premium, on and on. Each one has a different batch of options or standard equipment available. I'm not going to cover that all or we'll be here all day. Instead we're just going to cover the basic vehicle and drivetrain choices. Now the base engine is a 2-liter putting out 115 horsepower and rated at 23 to 34 miles per gallon. You won't find too many of those at the dealer's lot, and it's just as well because the 1.8 turbo putting out a good 170 horsepower gets better gas mileage at 25 to 37 miles per gallon and is a lot quicker. A third choice shown here is the 2.0 turbo putting out 210 horsepower and rated at 24 to 32 mpg. Now there is an excellent turbo diesel available putting out 31 to 45 mpg and an excellent hybrid that's really quick and rated at 42 to 48 mpg. I've already tested those engines, they're great, but that's for a different video. Here's a view of the cabin from the rear. And by the way, there's adequate room back here as long as you're under 6 feet tall. The materials you get in the Jetta are nothing fancy. On the other hand, the type of synthetics used are very sturdy, far more than the fragile stuff we get in a lot of Asian cars. Now we get a nice gauge cluster with lots of useful information in the middle. A very simple climate control system. You won't need to read the owner's manual to use this. Same with the sound system. Very easy to use. A decent sized glove box. A tiny console, adequate for holding a small wallet. And the usual cup holders. And an old-fashioned brake handle right here. Don't see too many of these nowadays. Now some of the engines are available with the manual transmission, but take my word for it, they will not outperform this excellent automatic transmission, especially if you move it down to the sport mode. And if you have to shift for yourself, got paddle shifters on the steering wheel. And another minor beef I had was the excessive width under the door on the rocker panels. Every time you get out of the car, your leg is rubbing on this panel here. And this outside shelf collects dirt and mud, which gets on your pants. Fortunately, I'm wearing my camis today, so that's not going to be an issue. But if you're wearing some white slacks, yeah, I think that could be an issue. You need to keep this washed and clean. One gripe I had with this Volkswagen is the film that builds up on the inside of the windshield. And it's not easy to get off. I've used a whole roll of paper towels 2 days ago to wipe this off, and after sitting in the sun, the film is back again. And as you can see, it's also an issue on the rear glass as well. I can't even see out the rear window. So I guess we'll have to get the Windex and paper towels out again tonight. In all fairness, most modern cars have this problem to some degree, especially when sitting out in 114-degree sun all day, but still, it's a pain in the butt. If you live in Alaska or Hawaii, this might not be an issue. Now this 210 horsepower turbo engine is a real gem. In daily driving, it's quiet, it's smooth, the transmission is perfectly mated to it. Fuel economy is pretty good too. But the real fun comes when you put your foot down on the throttle and that turbo kicks in. And this thing wants to take off. Now before we go any further, we're going to take this out tonight and see how the headlights perform. Now here's my first complaint. These are not headlights, these are daytime running lights, and anytime the ignition is on, these lights are on. The only way to turn them off is to turn the ignition off. Now on some large American pickup trucks, you have the ability to disconnect this feature when you want. Going over the owner's manual, apparently you can't do so here. So we're stuck with it. From a distance of 100 feet, the light is more than adequate with good height. High beams, plenty of light. Now we'll move over to a longer distance. Now the high beams are going to a distance of 300 feet. Low beams, more than adequate. Actually reaches out that far. Overall, very excellent. Now I've driven about a dozen examples of this particular engine in Volkswagen and Audi cars and found that the 24 miles per gallon in the city and 32 on the highway is easy to match. In this case, I've been driving in heavy city traffic and been using the turbo quite a bit, so I dropped down to 21.6. But considering the power and the traffic, that's still pretty good. If you're driving a Jetta and you find the ride to be stiffer than what you would like, I suggest not using the 36 pounds per square inch that's found on the frame plate. I've been driving vehicles for a long time and found that's a bit too much for a sedan. If you lower the tire pressures on this particular vehicle down to 32 pounds, you'll get a much softer ride and you won't sacrifice much handling or braking ability. Just a tip from me to you. Also, somewhere on their option list, Volkswagen offers a sport suspension package. I suggest you avoid it. You don't need to ride any stiffer than what it is now. By the way, being a typical German car, this vehicle has excellent brakes. Pedal feel is nice, firm, and consistent. If you spend a lot of time on the expressway, this is an excellent car for the job. You do get a bunch of thumping on bumps from these stiff tires, but it's not that big a deal. And there's always that passing power. Now, because of the wide range of engine options, the price of the Jetta can go down into the low 20s, or with the diesel and hybrid engines up into the 30s. This particular model with the 210 horsepower engine and loaded up with about everything you need was $28,000, which is more than reasonable for a fun-to-drive German car. If you want something with a bit more style, we just finished a video on the Volkswagen Turbo Beetle convertible. We have a link for that coming up right now.